Joining us now is a man who is the face of the fight game, a guy who has completely turned the presentation of mixed martial arts around from what it once was to what it is now. A global sensation, a global phenomenon. This weekend, UFC 273, headlined by Alexander Volkanovski in the Korean Zombie. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of the UFC and host of Fuck It Fridays, Dana White. What's up, man?
What's up, boys? How are you?
Hey, not too bad. How are you? You look like you're in a really nice place. This isn't your normal call-in. Where are you right now?
No, I'm in a hotel room in Jacksonville.
Oh, nice. How's it going? Really nice. You got the upper suite. You got the presidential suite up there.
Yeah, the elevator actually comes to my floor. It's nice. It's a cool place.
Well, you deserved it. You've earned it. Jacksonville, was that the first one with fans post-COVID as well?
That's why we've been back to Jacksonville so much. I'm super loyal to these guys, for what they did for me during the pandemic.
It feels like the fans down there are big time, and this weekend's fight lineup is awesome. Obviously, we just talked about Volkanovski and the Korean Zombie. So we try to look up the Korean Zombie's name. That's Google has it as the Korean Zombie. So
that's awesome.
Yes. What do you expect out of that fight, Dana?
His name is Chan Sung Jung is his name.
Okay.
That's his real name, but I love that he's got it as a Korean. Tell me that's not the greatest fight nickname of all time.
I think so. What do you see out of this fight happening? And there's a lot of super favorites this weekend, Dana. I think we're all excited because it feels like there's going to be a lot of finished fights. Minus 490. I think Peter Yan is at minus 350. And then
Khamzat
Chimaev is at minus 490. There's going to be some explosive shit this weekend in Jacksonville, huh?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, normally when you see the lines on a UFC fight, and you know how this goes, anything can happen in a fight. I mean, for the Korean Zombie to be that big of an underdog, that's crazy. He's got knockout power in both hands. His submission game is awesome. And he's a guy who presses forward, has obviously, with the nickname, has an incredible chin. But I think people are finally starting to give Volkanovski the respect he deserves. This guy hasn't lost. He's on a 20-fight win streak. I mean, so he's beat some of the best guys in the world. He's the world champion. And the odds makers are showing him respect.
Yeah, Volkanovski, he also has a great personality. I feel like he's a good talker, too. He's a fun dude. But I wanted to ask you about the Gilbert Burns and the Khamzat fight. A lot of people talking about that. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, that fight is huge. It's funny because if you look at how stacked this card is and how many great fights there are, and the main and the co-main are awesome, that fight is outperforming the main and the co-main by 7 or 8 times on social media and everything else. So Khamzat Chimaev is a guy that people are very excited about. People want to know if he's for real. He's taking on the number 2 welterweight in the world again, and a guy like Gilbert Burns who has knockout power in both hands, unbelievable ground game, and people feel like he's that big of an underdog to Khamzat. So this card is so badass and so fun. I've been so pumped for this card all week.
Hey, we're pumped for it as well. I can't wait to watch. It's going to be, golf and then people knocking the fuck out of each other. I mean, it's like a great Saturday coming up for every single sports center. Khamzat, though, let's talk about he's 10-0, and he shit talks in the middle of his fights. I think in Abu Dhabi, there was a 10-day separation between one fight and the next, and he ended absolutely both of them. When you see somebody like that, you have to get so excited because he's young, feels like he's got a lot of fights left, and he understands everything about it. This weekend, massive weekend for him professionally, in your eyes with you. Are you sending him right to are you putting a rocket ship on that fucking guy if he wins this weekend?
There's been a rocket ship on him since his first fight in Fight Island. Yeah, he fought in Fight Island. He screamed to me, I want to fight again next week. I grabbed the matchmakers and said, let's do this. And the guy has been special ever since. People are fascinated with this guy, but this weekend will tell the story. I mean, for again, to be that big of a favorite over Gilbert Burns, who's the number 2 ranked guy in the world and who's fought everybody. And I just saw an interview with Gilbert Burns where Gilbert said, guess what? I was that dude 2 years ago. I believed I was unbeatable. I believed nobody could beat me. And people believed that I couldn't be beat. But we can all lose a fight, on any given day. So It's going to be a fun one.
Hey, what do you think separates the good fighters from the great fighters? What do you think it is? Other than obviously skill, is there some sort of mental aptitude that you've met from some of these guys that are at the top that you think separates them from everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, when I first met like the Ronda Rouseys and the Conor McGregors and even Chuck Liddell back in the day, and Juliana Pena, who's the champ right now, these people walk right up to me and get in my face and they tell me what's going to happen and how this is going to work out. And, you know, it's a fascinating thing when you meet a fighter who is extremely confident and believes that they're going to be a world champion someday and that they're going to be in the top 5 in the UFC. And it's almost like they manifest this everything they tell me ends up coming true.
How many people come up to you and say it, and then like a couple minutes later you're watching them get knocked out on the canvas?
Well, I wouldn't say that other people come say it to me. There's people that we've looked at and said, ooh, this could be the next big yeah.
Name?
I'm trying to remember. I was with President Trump when he was president. He came to the fight. We're in the back, and I'm like, "Hey, Mr. President, this guy right here, this guy right here is going to be the guy." And we sat there and watched him get his ass whooped. I can't remember, and he still busts my balls about that till today.
Yeah,
he still brings that up and talks about it.
Yeah, that's probably because whenever he was talking to somebody later that night, he said, you know, my sources are telling me this guy.
No, it was while he was there with me. We sat there and watched him get his ass whooped.
Oh, that's awesome. Hold that over your head for the rest of your life. Go ahead, Ty.
Dana, it seemed like maybe 7 to 10 years ago, there was always like the 4th of July card was massive, then the year-end one, and then the Super Bowl weekend card. Do you still, are you looking in advance to some of these key dates, or has it gotten to the point where there are so many good fighters that you guys have that, kind of every month and every card you have, it doesn't really matter? Are there still dates that you okay, this has got to be the best show of the year?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because every time we do, I'm like, oh man, this show is unbelievable. This card is this and that. I don't know how, but we usually end up beating it, and we're like, oh my God, this is the card that I literally just had somebody reach out to me talking about this card this weekend, and I said, wait till you see the lineup that we have for this summer. I mean, this summer is badass. As long as, knock on some wood here, everybody stays healthy and, everything goes well, we got a badass lineup this summer.
We were talking to Vince McMahon, and Vince says, he never looks back. What am I even thinking about looking back? I'll obviously take what I learned, but I'm looking forward. At what point after a card, like Saturday night, early Sunday morning, do you and your team meet about the expectations of what that card was and move forward? Or is it, hey, we just got to learn from this and try to take either with the good from this and go next, or the bad from this and go next? Do you have a weekly meeting to talk about the fight before, the night before?
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. Once the show is behind you, you're only looking forward. And we get together on Tuesday because, most of the time people are traveling, and Monday you got to catch up with shit that you didn't get done last week. So Tuesday is the big matchmaking meeting every week. We get into a room, and the people that shined on Saturday night, we figure out what their trajectory is going to be and what's next for them.
Now, I want to go back to the Donald Trump thing. When you had him come to the fights when he was still sitting president, how was that? Was the security, everything before? Do you all have to get crazy background checks? What was the process like?
Yeah, they did some background checks, but Trump's a gangster. Trump never, they didn't want him sitting on the floor. They wanted him in a box. They didn't want him in. He walked right out of that tunnel and walked right through that arena. Let me tell you what. Ask anybody who was there that night in New York when he came that was at that event. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've never been to an event like that ever. When he walked out of that tunnel, that place went nuts, man. Everybody was standing on their chairs. Everybody had their phones on, and it was an incredible moment in my career.
I assume he tells the story too, and then he always ends it with, and Dana didn't know fucking shit about any of the fighting. Hey, on the intros and on the entrances, how much time do you guys focus on that? Is there rehearsal for that, or is that just kind of an afterthought, like, hey, let's come out into the whatever music and just kind of throw it away?
We rehearse like crazy. We rehearse those like we've never put an event on in our life. I'm very, very meticulous about.
That's a big deal, Dana. The entrance is a big deal.
It's the biggest deal. It's the biggest deal. There's 3 things leading up to the fight. You got the weigh-ins and the face-offs, right? You got the fighters walking out of the tunnel, and you got the fight. Those are the 3 things. So, Yes, they're very important, and we practice them like we've never done it before. I'm very crazy about how it looks on TV when you're home watching it, and I'm even crazier about how it looks live when you're there and you actually flew there, spent money, bought tickets, and paid for hotel rooms.
Yeah, so. You talking about the people in the arena and how important they are to your entire business was not kind of cool. It was pretty cool just because I feel like you appreciate and respect the live event, which some people forget about, but the people that are there, they're a massive part of the show as well. And if you fucking, feed them, it's only going to make it for a better viewing experience on TV.
So if you stay home on Saturday night and watch them, you literally walk over to your couch, push a button, and turn it on. You come to my live event, you got to fly there, get a hotel room, get to the arena, go to your seats. The people who come to the event are the most important thing. And my thing, too, is when you see a live event, like it's great on TV. It's one of those sports that's incredible on TV, but it's even better live. Nobody walks out of a live event and says, yeah, I don't ever want to come to one of these again.
It was like a gladiator. I think my first one was in Baltimore. John Jones was fighting somebody. He was just like fucking with him all night. But that's arena is shit. I mean, it's a bad arena. But it almost like added to the environment of the gladiator feel. We're sitting on top of the cage. It was like, this is one of the most electric things of all time. John wins. I get hammered drunk afterwards. It was a absolute blast. Couple more.
Well, you know what? Speaking of that, you know what's pretty cool right now is that Sports has been on fire for the last fucking 40 years, right? The sports business has just continued to go like this. Now, there's so many different sports, concerts, all these things that are going on. Arenas are popping up everywhere. And these are like state-of-the-art arenas. I mean, just in Vegas alone, they just built, the stadium. You got the T-Mobile, and now they're building the Sphere, which is the Madison Square Garden group, and somebody else is building an arena. So there's going to be all these options for these badass arenas, and they just keep getting better and better, and they're just going to create more of a better live experience.
How do you pick and choose where to go? I assume there's a lot of lobbying to you to have you bring the UFC to their arena. Are you clear in every single state at this point, or no?
Yeah. We're clear everywhere in the world. As these arenas keep popping up, we will start cutting better and better deals.
I could imagine these people coming, hey, come to Indianapolis. What do you say? Hey, what do you say? We got a good fucking arena here. Talking to Dana White, president of the UFC. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Dana, the Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal fight was pretty electric. Do you think there will be another one of those going forward, or will Colby get another shot at the belt?
I think...
Whoa! You didn't want to answer that. That's it.
I think that if Khamzat Chimaev wins this weekend, we see him and Colby Covington next.
Is that breaking news? That breaking news right there?
Yeah, that's why I paused for.
Thank you, Dana. Hey, thanks for blessing us with that. Thank you for blessing us with that. We appreciate that. Great fucking question.
So I have a fight coming up on ABC, and in a perfect world, if everything plays out right, I would love to do. Khamzat versus Colby if Khamzat should win on Saturday night.
Okay. How do you feel about all the out of the ring stuff, out of the octagon stuff that went on with Colby and Jorge? Obviously, the media is going to report it as, a bad thing, and it is. Everybody should take care of each other. You can't be fighting in public. There's a reason you fight privately. But you talked about it. When you get two people that actually genuinely hate each other, normally the buildup is pretty solid there. I don't know if they're ever going to settle it.
Well, I say this all the time. Listen, man, first of all, in no way, shape, or form do I ever condone violence and people, my guys fighting each other in the streets and shit like that. But on the flip side, when you're dealing with a guy like Jorge Masvidal and you start talking about his family, all these fighters, it's like, listen, say what you want to say about me, or you hate me, you think I'm ugly, you think I'm stupid, whatever my thing is. But when you start talking about people's families, it goes to a whole nother level, man. You talk about people's families and you're walking out of a restaurant, you better be ready for a guy like Jorge Masvidal to run up on you.
Dana,
I mean, is anybody shocked that he talks shit about his kids and his wife, and you think that he's not going to do that? Of course he's going to do that.
It's very interesting, though, because in the MMA business, there's so much respect. I think that is, as somebody that I was never into any mixed martial arts, any of them. I had friends that were in it, but I never understood how you could want to fight somebody and then immediately afterwards have the utmost respect. And they're like, how could you not have the utmost respect for a person that you just went in there and want to battle against, basically? It's a big-time respect business, and I think that's why it was so startling what happened in the street just a couple weeks ago.
Well, you got to understand, these guys were actually friends and training partners, so they know intimate details about each other, about each other's lives, about each other's families, and there's something that's called fucking man code, man, and a lot of these young, goofy fucking dudes these days don't know about it, but they need to learn about it.
Hey, the world's changing, but the one thing that can remain the same is the UFC is a rocket ship, and it's because of your guidance, man. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, boys. Have a great day.
Hey, how about you breaking news right here, too? That's fucking
Here
big.
we go.
Yeah. We feel like we're big time all of a sudden, Dan. Thank you for...
Hey, look in your bank account. You know you're big time.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, President of the UFC, Dana White.
Yeah!
Man, that was awesome. Look at us getting in the MMA and breaking news.
Yeah, that's a big scoop.
It is pretty
Huge.
big. That's on ABC.
Good job. Look at you, Connor.
Connor, that's a great question.
It's the false man. He sent it to me. I didn't even know what I was going to say.
Maybe I should like him a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe you should move up my power rankings of poker players.
Maybe 1 or 2 spots.
Dana's the best, man.
Yeah.
Where's he at? He's down at TPC? That's what it looked like, right? Jacksonville area?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
He had that golf course right behind him?
Probably.
In that last card there, like you said, when they first came back with fans, it was
Electric.
yeah.
That was the first place they went with fans. I think everybody was kind of surprised by it. And from what it sounds like, they were the only people that were like, yes, you can come and do it here or whatever, which probably...
Dana said, I remember when it was happening, Dana even like publicly said that, hey, we will remember that. Like, we will always make sure we come back here.
Hey, I enjoyed him dropping that man code thing because, it does sound...
You said these young goofy kids. I would call people goofy.
Young
that's
goofballs.
Hey, that's part of the man
Goofballs.
code too, by the way. Him saying, hey, we will remember this, we will come back. Like, that is a part of it all, Like, that's part of the whole thing.